Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? Get comfy, put a pillow behind your back, grab a smoothie, maybe coffee, and let's get into it, okay? So, the whole world, as we know it, right, is now in a nuclear doom feedback loop-de-loop, if you will, that ends with nuclear missiles flying and detonating over densely populated western cities. With this doom loop-de-loop, okay, is being aggressively pushed by the potato regime and NATO forces. And it's seemingly in an effort to provoke or poke the bear, as I like to say. All right, they're poking the Putin bear, okay, into a nuclear retaliation. It's like they almost want to see how far they can go by, like, he's like, Potato's like that annoying little cousin. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. He's one of those. He's like that flea that you just want to flick. And I mean, this retaliation would literally decimate. Okay, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just giving you facts. It would literally decimate Western cities and allow the bankrupt, corrupt Western governments to claim their currency collapsed because of Russia, rather than from all of their money printing, looting as that they're committing, all right? The crimes that they're literally committing right now, right underneath your noses, and they don't give a shite, all right? Now, consider the following, okay? Just put this into consideration, keep it in the back of your brain, and just let it sit and start, okay? Provocation. The West attacks the Nord Stream pipelines. You know it. I know it. Retaliation. Russia launches the missiles, strikes against dozens of Ukrainian cities, right? Then you got provocation. Bombing attacked on the Crimea bridge, right? You saw the video, right? Now, retaliation. Now, Russia launches even more missiles and strikes on Ukrainian cities. Now, what will the next provocation be? Think. What will the next one be? Obviously, it's going to be something larger than what happened with Nord Stream and the Crimea Bridge. All right? These attacks are designed, they're planned to encouraging Putin to overreact, because they're hoping, they want to push him, they want to push him into a nuclear escalation. They're like, how far can we push him? How far? Therefore, NATO, they must destroy the targets that have a high emotional, cultural impact among the Russian people. Right on? Now, what could these next targets be? Well, perhaps it's some of the bigger Russian cities with strong cultural history. Russian Orthodox churches, whatever, okay? Whatever you think would be, have like the most impact, what would hurt the most people, not physically, but emotionally, okay? Alternatively, the West could stage a false flag, okay? We've seen that how many times when it comes to stuff like this, okay? A false flag attack on the U.S. power grid and blame it on Russia. And then use that cyber warfare excuse to escalate with Russia, further escalating this doomish, gloomish cycle loop-de-loop. Okay, so every retaliation by Russia seems to ferment It's like, it's not fermenting like a fine wine, or even some. It's like a prison hooch. It's a fermenting. You know what I mean? Yet another escalation by Ukraine, by NATO, resulting in an even more devastating attack against Russia infrastructure, pipelines, bridges. Who knows what's next? Who knows? Nobody knows. So this in turn enrages the Russian people, who demand military retaliation against Russia, or not against Russia, my bad, I'm sorry, against the Ukraine, which is a nation that mercilessly shelled the people of Donbass region for 8 years, waging an illegal domestic war against their own citizens, as if we didn't know that, who have since voted to leave Ukraine and permanently join Russia. So right now, there's no doubt, okay, none whatsoever, that NATO forces are plotting their next provocation attack on Russia. And as this cycle repeats, it's only a matter of time before Russia uses nuclear or EMP weapons to try and halt this insanity. And if you have these bullies, okay, bully nations, all right, that won't stop attacking you, okay, remember what I said? Oh my gosh, this was weeks ago. You know how you never forget that one bully in middle school, and you'll never forget their name and everything they did? Okay? They just won't stop attacking you with both, okay, in this case it would be economic sanctions, kinetic attacks, and it won't listen to reason or even attempt to negotiate peace. At some point, you have to deploy a weapon large enough to force your opponents to rethink their stance. It's the same thing that would happen on a playground, right? That the one who's being bullied is just gonna, I've had it, I am done. Same thing. But this is obviously escalated, right? Bigger. But still, this leads us to nuclear weapons with Russia, which, Russia, they possess in spades, man. Seriously. So it's just this, I don't ever really like to get religious here, because there's a lot of people who are of different religious affiliation and stuff like that. But it does say in Revelation chapter 18, then a mighty angel picked up a boulder the size of a large millstone and threw it into the sea and said, with such violence the great city of Babylon will be thrown down, never to be found again. The merchants of the earth will weep and mourn over her, because no one buys their cargoes anymore. They will say, the fruit you longed for is gone from you. All your luxury and splendor have vanished, never to be recovered. The merchants who sold you these things and gained their wealth from her will stand far off, terrified at her torment. They will weep and mourn and cry out, woe, woe to you, great city, dressed in fine linen, purple and scarlet, and glittering with gold, precious stones and pearls. In 1 hour, such great wealth has been brought to ruin. So, what happens? What happens if and when America is struck? When a nuclear weapon takes, if a nuclear weapon were ever to go to New York, let's just say, understand that at one level, okay, God is arranging for such events as a form of wrath being unleashed against a city of tremendous evil, child sacrifice. New York City is the capital of a certain procedure for women, if you know what I'm leading to. And it's a city steeped in certain mutilations of children that make me sick. Drag queen story time exploitation of children, which I will never understand why that even occurs in schools and libraries. Political corruption, financial fraud. So while NYC is the likely first target of, say, Russia's nuclear retaliation, it's also the target of God's wrath. Being unleashed against for the traitorous regions of America that have rejected God and embraced Satanism. The New York Times, okay, just hear me out. The New York Times, of course, is also a weapon of Satan. And why do I say this? It is steeped in deception and lies that harm the world and help enslave billions under globalism. When New York City, okay, and people refer to New York as Babylon, okay, when New York City falls, it's the financial backbone of America is broken. Done. Okay, the dollar collapses, gold and silver become unimaginably valuable, okay, overnight. I mean, literally, okay, and mass chaos is unleashed across America due to the currency collapse. Food stamps stop functioning, credit cards are frozen, banks cease operations. Fear and panic will sweep across this nation quicker than you can blink your eyes, with blue cities suffering the worst effects due to the Democrats protecting the criminals and defunding the police. America will fall to its knees. The government collapses, mass chaos, and death will ensue. Meanwhile, Israel is protected by God, and Russia is defeated as the end times draw to a close. And this is according to interpretations of Scripture. So, we have not yet entered tribulation, which means we have 7 more years of hell on earth, even after we enter that time period. We could be looking at a decade of collapse, with many years of suffering, mass death ahead of us. And the really sad part about all of this is that it was all avoidable. All of it. Yet simultaneously, it was engineered to happen. Because the nations of the West are run by Luciferian demons and Satanists who seek to destroy humanity. and that's it. It was all planned. Sad to say, but it's the ugly truth. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I love you. See you in the next one. You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping, and as always, fear less.